We lived in Fremont in town for a year in 66, 67, and my dad traveled for the Drover's Journal, livestock paper. He went to work for the Hereford Journal, and we moved to Washington County in 69. I started showing cattle in 68. We had an Angus cow herd. Through the 60s and 70s, we were 4-H. During that period, my dad took the job at Knights of Exarban, and he was director of agricultural activity. He ran the 4-H show and the rodeo. He had a full-time job, and then we took care of the cows. As we aged into the cattle business, we looked for other options besides Angus. And we had good friendships in the Angus business for years, but we were looking for something different. So we sampled everything. At one point, we had J&C limousines, J&C mains, etc. We settled on the Simmentals. We were showing those Simmentals as calves. Early on at Exarban, they were the first feeder calf show, and we had the reserve steer and the reserve heifer there. Once we got to that point, then we started keeping black Simmentals as replacements that were half-bloods, which we had a tough time getting them black. They're yellow and white, spotted by nature, from Switzerland and from Germany. We added to the cow herd with red and yellow Simmentals as Clark and I's part of the cow herd, but we never added anything back but a black one. In '82, we took our first set of Simmental bulls to Battle Creek to sell with my Uncle John. They always had a bull sale, but then we talked them into having a heifer sale along with it. So we took the first open heifers up there to sell at that time too, and they were all AI sired. They didn't bring much money, but the next year they did. We have a section of grass in Pierce County, and then what grass we have in Washington County, and then we also go over to Mount Ayr, Iowa, 160 miles for grass. Sold at Christensen Field for over 10 years. We rented that facility. We sold as many as 235 head there in a day. Shabans at Dunlap had bought the West Point sale. A year after they bought it, we had a female sale in the fall and had it there. The following January, it had our bull sale there. Clark and Leslie and his 3 daughters, and then Kim and I and my daughter, they all showed. We traveled extensively through the Midwest, and now we're at the Washington County Fairgrounds with a video sale. We spent a lot of time doing still photos and videos, and then submitting everything to DV auction, and that's where you get your big exposure. We send cattle all over. That's how it's grown. We're at about 200 females that we calve annually, and then we retain 50 head of heifers every year, 30 for replacements and 20 to sell. We calve cows, we breed cows, and then we feed calves. And so those are the 3 things that are my concern. Clark's business, he's our farmer, and then we do a lot of haying. We used to do commercial haying because we could deliver to, when the thoroughbreds were at Exarban, there were mare farms around Omaha, and we had 5 or 6 of them. And so we did 25,000 square bales a year that we would deliver to those. And then it turned into the riding stables, and we handled 3 or 4 of the big ones. We age. We give up on some of that. And then we still hay a lot, but it's with round bales for our own use. Once the commercial haying slid off, the cow herd increased, so you use your own supply. Clark has some trucks, and when the seed corn harvest is on, we're the refuse haulers out of the Syngenta plant in Waterloo. And that is the shuckage that comes out of the seed corn plant. And we haul to about 4 or 5 local cow people to supply that food source. We're haying, cropping, and then 30 days at Syngenta, and then doing the cow stuff. We got smart. We gather cows once a day because we can tell when they're in heat to AI. Go out in the morning. Anybody that's in heat from the night before, they get bred that morning. Anybody that's standing at that time, we just hold them till evening. So we just chase cows once a day. At Clark's place then, we 40 to 45 of the 2s and 3s. They get AI'd in their own group, and then there's 50 open heifers being AI'd at the same time. I have a feeder wagon at my house, he has a feeder wagon at his house. All that stuff's got to run every day until we go to grass. We wear out tractors feeding cattle, and we wear out pickups checking. Probably the rewarding part is having a sale. You know, sale day is your paycheck day. To see people have success with your product, that's the part we like. We sell bulls to mostly commercial people that sell calves. Our relationship with John and Jim Shaban from the Dunlap sale barn and then the West Point sale barn, those guys market close to 70% of the calves that are sired by our bulls. Your auctioneer sells weekly at their own barn, and then your calves come through there and they know it. And so there's a real connection there. Some of these farms and ranches use us exclusively for their genetics. They don't buy anybody else's. That's a big deal. I guess they trust us. We guarantee and we service what we sell and try to make it a personal experience. It's interpersonal relationships that feeds into it. It's not just our pedigrees anymore, it's actual DNA. Technology side of the cattle business and in registered stock is gotten down to DNA. We will have to do DNA on individuals for parentage, and then for other factors as their coat color and their horn polled status. And then there's also a factor for enhanced EPDs on the individuals through genomics. The next project is, finish up calving, get our semen supplies gathered up, and then get everybody mated up. And then April 10th, we'll start putting in new ones. That's pretty intense for 40 days. We're chasing cows every day. We've been selling bulls for 45 to 50 years. It's nice to be recognized. Typical Midwesterners, they're not gonna come up to you and slap you on the back and say, "Oh, you're doing a great job." We look for those people's success by how they sell. To have some local honor, it's cool. It's nice to get. When you're a kid 4-H'ing, you get a lot of ribbons and trophies. As you age, you don't get that as much. And when your kids are done 4-H'ing, then you gotta go look for that somewhere else. It's nice to get one you didn't ask for.